Okay. Um, Title says it all. Honestly, I had time yesterday to plan something out because it was really cold yesterday, so I didn't do a lot of birding. Um, but I didn't. I didn't plan anything out. This morning is beautiful, and I should be out birding now, but I'm not. Last Saturday, at this time, I was deep in the woods hunting down a blue-winged warbler, which is why I wasn't here. Uh, the birds have slowed down a little bit, but they are still coming through, so I still need to be cognizant and get out there. But sacrificing myself for you. I'm also. Whoa! Thank you for the follow right at the start of stream. Wow. Welcome in. Welcome. Uh, I'm not sure what I'm making. We're in head empty mode. I've got ingredients. We can just pull ingredients out and kind of muddle over what our options are. You may have seen the lemon in the pre-show, or you might not have. Here's our lovely blown-out countertop. So I've got a fresh lemon. I've got lots of odds and ends, and I want something warm and hearty and breakfasty. And I was thinking I would try a congee, but different flavor. I was reading about various global breakfasts last night to see if I could inspire myself, and I found one that seemed really interesting. Unfortunately, I don't have black lentils or pigeon peas or uh, the third kind of lentil that was in there. It was a mixed bean like breakfast porridge. It sounded really good from Iran. Can't remember the name. Can't remember the name. Some Iranian word that I had a hard time pronouncing even when I was just saying it to myself. So let me go grab some rice. Have it handy. So I think I'm still going to go with that. Although I've got couscous, we could do a couscous. I was also looking through, and I've got frozen bacon and frozen shrimp shells. We could do the shrimp shells. Okay. I got some apples too. Let me grab some apples. The wrong kinds of apples. Let's grab some apples. Some apples. So I was just standing here thinking while the show was starting. I was we could boil the shrimp shells into some shrimp broth. Use that liquid to cook the rice into a rice porridge, and top it with bacon and apple. We could make like a bacon apple. What you call it? The cooked fruit thing. The cooked fruit thing that I can't remember the name of. Cooked fruit thing. It's called compote. Compote. That's the word I'm trying to think of. Compote. Zaizan. Moisten. Oh my. Moist. Welcome in. Welcome in. What would you have for breakfast? I'm looking for ideas, or brunch, or lunch, or really anything. I'm kind of we're in a sussing out ideas, and I'm just kind of pulling out random things and seeing what strikes my inspiration. especially things in the freezer, like these frozen leek tops. Frozen leek tops. That's... I forgot I had those. I forgot I had those. That could be a good oatmeal. I mean, I could make oatmeal and then throw a bunch of stuff at the oatmeal, but... Okay. Okay. We're just looking in my cupboards and freezer and fridge for whatever I've got. Because as usual, I've got a lot of stuff on here. I still got ramps. Probably gonna throw a couple of ramps in there regardless. I got mushrooms. I've got tofu. I've got cabbage. I've got baby bok choy. I forgot I picked those up. I've got eggplant. I've got eggs. I've got... Okay, okay. Hypothetical for you, Cizan. If there was no oatmeal in the house and you didn't have a means of conveyance to go and get oatmeal, or anyone that you could ask to deliver it to you, and you had all the ingredients that I have, aside from oatmeal, what would you make for breakfast? I know, it's a very realistic situation. See, the leek tops would need to be diced up a little bit more if I wanted to use them. Leek. These are chicken stock cubes, which means we could do a chicken stock base instead of a shrimp stock base and save my shrimp shells for a fancier day. Okay, okay. Rice porridge was in my mind space already. We also got potatoes. We could do something with potatoes. We could do leek and potato. I mean, okay. I've got frozen leek tops, bacon, and potatoes. I could just make a leek potato soup. That is a possibility, although I'd have to thaw the leeks so I could dice them up a little bit. Okay, I'm going to start something so that I'm not just standing around. Okay. Get out a pot and a measuring cup. Let's get out a smaller pot, I think, for this. Smaller pot. One and 2.5 cups water. Maybe. My worry with putting the leeks in anything that's got a spinning blade is that the fibers might bind on it, but while they're frozen, they should be brittle enough that might actually work. That might actually work. Okay, these 2 chicken cubes, which I've gotten freezer burned, but that's fine, are stuck together, so we need to break them apart. Gotcha. And then one of these goes in there. We turn the heat on, and we melt that into that. That's going to take a good minute. Means I still have plenty of time to think. Odds and ends, huh? Odds and ends. I do think I want to use these leeks. Since I remembered they were there, I think I want to use these leeks. So we're going to actually give that a go. We're going to give your suggestion just now a shot. And see if I can't dice them up. Because that's a... Well, let me pull one out and see how hard they are to actually just cut frozen. They might not be that hard. They're not that hard to cut. They ain't that hard to cut. So we're gonna get a bowl out for them. I was overthinking it. We're gonna have to get these in pretty much right away if I want to eat them. Leek tops are fully edible, just like the leek bottoms that we usually eat. They're just tougher and need longer cooking. So since I'm committing to them, they're going to have to go in the pan. I don't think we're going to use all of these either. I've got quite a few here. I'll just have to remember them in the future. Ooh, there's one that's got a little bit of the thick part still on it. So we'll use about half of what I had there and get them in that pot so that they can simmer away. They're much easier to cut than I was expecting, honestly. So that's good. Okay. So chicken stock and leeks to start. Well, I'm glad I looked in the freezer and spotted these. I would have just straight up forgotten. And I love leeks. Well, I say I love leeks. I love all alliums, even when they don't necessarily always love me back. I've yet to find one that I disagree with. Heck, this could turn into a breakfast of alliums. Okay. As mentioned, the leeks tops are a little tough, so we're taking them directly over to our water, putting them in now. You might have to up the amount of water, but I want them to have the maximum amount of time to soften up. We might even get out a lid. Who's that one? We might even get out a lid to prevent that from boiling down. Heat up a little bit. I am going to bring us over here, but I'm going to lid that to prevent us from losing as much moisture and give them a chance to sort of cook down. That'd be a good shot for a pressure cooker. Okay. Okay. We're probably going to have to cook something on the... Oh, we could do... Ooh, that actually... that's an idea. That's an idea. This might work. This might work. I'm going to move them to the back burner. Medium high, to get them thawing and bubbling away. And then we move on. We're going to, I'm going to, okay, bacon. The bacon is also frozen. This is what you get from head empty cooking. Having to work out things directly from the freezer instead of pre-thawing them. But that's fine, This bacon's been in here a while. This is smoked bacon as well, so this is going to be a lovely flavor. Nope. Is that too much? What am I saying? You can never have too much bacon. Merca bacon. We might have too much bacon. The joke of can never have too much bacon is definitely a joke. You can definitely have too much bacon. I find frozen bacon quite easy to cut, so I keep my bacon in the freezer a lot of the time, as long as you can get it out of the original packaging. The bacon is going to provide all of the fat in our entire dish at this point, so I'm not going to even oil up a pan. Tiny muffin tin quiches with leftover tater tots, ramp butter, and cheddar cheese. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Well, that sounds lovely. Okay. And I moved the other thing. This is definitely too much bacon. This is about double the amount of bacon I need. I should have stopped when I had one of those bunches, but oh well. I guess we'll just enjoy extra bacon. Since this pan is not hot, I can just do this right here. Oop, there's pieces of bacon flying all over the place. We can't have that. Okay, we bacon up our pan with a lot of bacon. We get it over here to start rendering. Well, the concern with too much bacon is not that bacon isn't delicious and you can have too much bacon, or you end up with too much bacon. The concern with too much bacon is that it throws off the balance of whatever you're making with the bacon, and you end up with it just tasting like bacon instead of having all the various characters that you're spending all this effort putting into it. That's the concern with too much bacon. Um, as a connoisseur of the BLT, uh, too much bacon on a BLT is 100% a thing because the bacon is a very assertive flavor, and you want to celebrate especially the tomato element. So that's my one concern, is that we might end up with it being a little too bacony in the final product. Our leeks are definitely pluming out steam, so we're definitely at a boil here. Okay, so we're going to let those boil for a while to get them well softened up. But I think we can take the temperature down a little bit because we don't need them to risk boiling over. Keep an eye on those, would you? So my earlier assertion of apple, we're going to stick with. Decided we're going to stick with apple. I have these pink ladies. I picked up some pink ladies because I was trying all the various apples in the store as they went on sale, and I discovered that I really don't like pink lady. So I'm going to use them as cooking apples, even though they're also not good for that. I kind of don't like this kind of apple, I have determined. Yeah. Let's get out a dish for them. And it was just the texture. The flavor was fine. It was just the texture put me off in terms of an eating apple. But the texture put me off by being too soft, which is not what you want for a cooking apple either. Cooking apples are supposed to be firm, but I like firm eating like extra firm eating apples. I don't know. I should do a tier list, a full breakdown of all the apples. Tier lists are still popular, right? So we're just going to crudely core these guys. You do not need a fancy apple corer to core an apple. You just need a knife. And you cut the little wedge out the middle around the, oh, what's that thing called? The middle part. You know, the middle part. Ah, crap, that one didn't go all the way through. I'm doing 2 apples because of the quantity of bacon. We're trying to match that. Because this is going with the bacon. Pork and apples are a very good combination. And of course, this is pork bacon. I got into a fight recently with somebody over bacon because there was a post about seitan bacon People were saying, "Oh, that's not real bacon. Real bacon's made out of pigs. Call it something else." And then after explaining what seitan was, because people also seemed to think it was some chemical concoction, and then also had to talk them down about the whole bacon thing, because we've been calling turkey bacon bacon for a long, long time, and that's not made out of pigs. Apple cores hurt your hands. That's I mean, I hardly ever core apples unless I'm cooking with them. I usually just eat around the core. Yes, all cooking is ultimately chemical concoctions because all food is made out of chemicals. But people seem to think that seitan is like one of the modern meat alternative creations, instead of being very old. I don't even own an apple core. Don't see the purpose for my kitchen. I can get the job done with a knife. But I know people like specialty things like that. Okay, since this is not a firm baking apple, but intended to be more of an eating apple, we're not going to put it in right off the bat. I don't want it to go completely to mush, although I guess I kind of do want it to go to mush. We'll find out. I'm going to have extra of this compote regardless, because I'm making easily double what I should be in terms of both the bacon component and the apple component. So so this is going to stand here on the side for a little bit while I do other things, which means we're going to have to put some citrus on it. And I've got a fresh lemon there, but I kind of don't want to use a fresh lemon for this. Unless I also zest the lemon. Ooh, we could also zest... we might use the fresh lemon because then I can zest the lemon. I hate to squeeze the juice out of a fresh lemon without zesting it. This is one of them sweet eating apples too. It needs the extra tartness. All right. Need to stop ranting about apples. I love apples, but damn, the trend in apple production these days of making them into these big, fat, sweet eating apples. I just don't like it. I just don't like it. Okay. Bacon's coming along. Let's push it around to ensure that we're all getting nice and rendery. Okay. Nice and rendery. Let's get back over here. We're going to zest. So we decided we're going to use this lemon. We're going to zest it and then juice it into the apples. Get the sticker off of there. Where's my... Ooh. We're going to carefully zest it because one end of my microplane is not clean. Temperature on the bacon comes down because it is getting to the point where it's going to start getting too toasty. Ah, boy. Fresh lemon is one of the most lovely things you can have. There's a reason they put this smell into everything, cleaning-wise, because it's just this lovely fresh smell. You notice that? You never get lime. You never get lime-scented bathroom cleaners. You never get grapefruit-scented bathroom cleaners. It's always lemon. Because grapefruits are disgusting, and I guess limes are unpopular. I don't know. I like limes. I would buy lime-scented things. Okay. Lemon zested. Lemon. I got a seedless lemon. Get out my citrus reamer and let's ream some citrus. So I've mentioned this pretty much every time I've done anything with apples. The acid prevents the apples from oxidizing, which prevents them from going brown. Now, I don't talk about citrus nearly as much as I talk about apples. Because I don't know as much about citrus. I should read about citrus, so then I can talk about citrus. We're going to save all the pulp, too, because I think the pulp will be good in our final product. Ooh. And of course, whenever you juice a citrus, you immediately find any tiny cuts that are on your hands. Ow. Should have gotten a bigger bowl. I didn't realize the apples were going to be quite this voluminous. Oh well. That'll be good enough. We're going to cook them down anyways, so it's not like you're going to stay pristine. The bacon is definitely ready for other ingredients to be added to it. So, let's grab an onion. Let's grab a shallot. Let's struggle to peel a shallot with wet hands. Do not peel a shallot with wet hands. It is a true nightmare. A true living nightmare. Wow. Okay. Learned something there. Yeah, we're taking that extra. That layer is not dried out. It's not papery, but it's a little bit leathery. So it's on the way from misery to happiness today. Oh, that's a Proclaimers song. I don't know why that sprang into my head, and I don't know why I said it aloud. It has nothing to do with the situation at hand. Okay. Shallot. And the other half of the shallot. Okay. We got to be careful here because we don't want to burn the bacon. We don't want to overcook the bacon. So we need to make sure to add things to it as it goes. Since the bacon is currently cooked, I think, ideally. Shallots do not take long to cook at all. Are we adding fresh garlic to this, or are we adding garlic powder to this? Or are we adding both? Both. I keep seeing, every time I do garlic, I say, crush your garlic in advance. And I explain why. And then I keep seeing internet chefs, specifically and specifically Babish, crushing his garlic directly into a hot pan. And I'm like, no, no, you fool. So let that be a lesson to you. I guess, somehow. I think our bacon and shallot mixture is overheating a little bit. I'm going to add a splash of wine. Just a splash of white wine to slow it down. and it'll add a little bit of character. Add a little bit of character. It'll slow the cooking down because I'm afraid we're going to burn a little bit if I don't get some liquid in there. Trouble is with shallot instead of onion is there's less water, or no, it's not less water. Because the layers are so much thinner, shallot expresses its water much faster and dries out in the pan much faster. Let's take a look at our leek mixture. Ooh, okay. That means it needs more liquid. That needs more water. Despite my efforts to put the lid on, we did lose some to the boil off. But that's looking good. It's cloudy. The leek pieces look very nicely softened. Oh, thank you for the moisten. Moist. That's going to turn into a rice porridge. Once this pan is burned its wine off, which I believe we have achieved now. Oh, I know what needs to go in there. Okay, one more thing before I move on to the garlic, which is fine because the garlic needs time to rest. I keep reclosing this bag of ramps. The bag of ramps. We're going back to the bag of ramps. I'm going to need to set aside time to do a big project for the ramps, because I've got quite a lot of them left here, and I'm using them kind of slowly. They're keeping, but they're definitely starting to show their age a little bit. Oh, you can't on the wrong angle. They're definitely starting to show their age a little bit. So I'm going to need to set aside for a big project to use them up, because I would hate to throw them out. Because they are so very tasty, and they were a gift. I may end up trying to dry them. I've been told that they are very good for freezing if you blanch them, so we might do that. And I have learned that you can't just eat big piles of them, or they give you the shits. Pardon my language, but it's true. The actual shits. So the amount I'm putting in here is probably the amount I would limit myself to using, just in general. I think I'm a little bit more sensitive than average to them, because some of my other friends have not reported similar strong reactions. So yeah, I will have to set aside a time to do some preservation techniques on them. The birds are ramping down now, so we will have time coming up. I should have done it yesterday. I should have done a project, any project at all, yesterday, because I got up early to go birding, and then it was cold. Like, cold. Unpleasantly cold. So then I didn't go out birding, and I kind of squandered the day. Garlic is going in as well. So yeah, I need to run some preservation on them, and that would be a good could be a good show. Could be boring and repetitive. Okay. Cook until the garlic is fragrant. Which we have achieved. Does not take very long, especially when you pulverize your garlic like that. Birds that I saw that I was especially excited about. The first blue-winged warbler that I got a week ago today, I was very excited for. And then on subsequent trips, there was a whole bunch of them out. So I was like, oh, I guess this is the area for them. I think the first one was just the first one that had arrived, and we're like, ooh, I don't have one of those. I haven't seen one of those in a while. But I guess I've found the area in which they are abundant. I'm adding my apple with the lemon juice. Let's scrape down the bowl just to make sure I got all the lemon juice. But the most unusual one that I got, which was on my walk out there on, was it Monday? It was earlier in the week. At about 11 a.m., I suddenly hear a distinctive, rhythmic hooting from the woods of a barred owl just going off in the middle of the day. That was fun and unexpected. I have salted my apples to attempt to draw some of the moisture out of them into the pan because we're making a thing. I'm also going to take this opportunity to throw some rice into our boiling leek water, our leek chicken stock. So yeah, unexpected middle of the day barred owl. That was good. Other excitements. The warblers are always nice. I haven't gotten any that I would call particularly well, right at the beginning of the warbler season, I got a northern parula, which are a very striking bird. They're blue and orange, and they've got this like necklace pattern on them. And I often completely whiff on them during migration. And this one was singing, so I was very excited to see it. I don't know that it's particularly rare. I just have terrible luck with them. So I was quite excited to see that one. I'm adding a little bit of garlic powder and a little bit of onion powder to this. Let's stir that rice around in there. We can turn the heat down on the rice. And we can get this thing stirred up. Temperature needs to go back up on these because we need to really get some heat on these apples. And I think we want to put a lid on this as well to steam it off. That's the lid. On my last trip out, I guess I arrived just in time for the arrival of all the indigo buntings. Again, not a super rare bird, but there was just so many of them all at the same time. It was quite striking. If you've never seen an indigo bunting, they're extremely blue. They're one of those birds that, like, I've seen a bluebird. I know what a bluebird looks like. No, no, no. These are blue. Just like scarlet tanagers. Just like scarlet tanagers, which I have not found yet this year. Scarlet tanagers are one of those ones that you actually have to see in person, because the shockingness of their red gets lost in images. It doesn't pick up properly. So they look very red in images, but they look so much more red in real life, in person. It's intense. I forgot to add my lemon zest, so we're going to add my lemon zest to this. Stir it in. You know what I wish I had to add to this? Just some apple juice. Some plain old apple juice. Because I don't really want to add any more wine. There's a little bit of wine in there. I don't want to add any more wine because I don't really want to amp up that wine flavor. Lamborghini Hurricane. Hello. Hello, welcome in. We are head empty cooking and talking about birds. Because that's what's been distracting me and the reason I'm head empty today. I've been bird town all week. How are you? Welcome in. Thank you for the follow. See, I've already got lemon juice in there. I don't want to crank up the acidity that much more. I'm going to give it another splash of wine and then put the lid, just a small splash of wine, and then put the lid back on. Because there needs to be a little bit of liquid in there to get the apples started. The apples should express a lot more of their own liquid as we go, and that gets the apples. So I just needed a little splash so that the apples at the bottom don't burn before the ones at the top can express their moisture into the mix. How's this guy doing? This guy needs a stir. And he might need some more water. I have no idea how any of this is going to taste. You know, there's no salt in that either. So we should probably add a little bit of salt to this. Since that was my homemade chicken stock, which I did not salt. Store-bought stocks are usually salted for preservation purposes. If you make yours at home and freeze it, don't salt it, because then you can control the amount of salt that you add to it as you're cooking with it. But it also means you have to remember to add salt. We have an ad coming up. Warning, warning, ad. Do I want to add anything else to the dish? We've got a little bit of time while both of these things kind of cook. It's going to be a rice leek porridge with a bacon apple compote topping. I guess it could use some decorative topping. It also has nothing spicy in it. Ooh! It needs 1 egg, which is great because I had a bowl of egg, and now I can take that egg out of that bowl and have my bowl back. We're going to do 1 egg. That's not going to take very long. That's going to be a topper at the end. But put that there to remind myself that we're going to do 1 egg at the end. Because what's a brunch without an egg? There's the actual ad. So a hot oil would also give us a nice striking red contrast on the top, since we're cooking all the color out of our apple. Okay, well, this is the go-to option for a hot, bright red oil. So there's an egg. I'm gonna grab, where's my clippers? I'm gonna grab, what do you think? Or should I wait for the ad? I'm gonna wait for the ad. I'm gonna wait for the ad, then I have a question. And then I have a question. Waiting for an ad. We have to taste test these things as well before I commit, just to make sure they're not terrible. 3, 2, 1, 0. Welcome back from the ad. I have a question for chat. The question is, I don't know if anyone cares. The question is, as a topper for this thing that I'm making, chives or scallions? You can't have both. I will not cut both. The gentleman up there. Oh, and actually, keep my eye on my clock. I need to turn my oven off. Surprise, the oven's been on full blast all this time because I am seasoning a pan at the same time. I know it's a hard question. That's why I've posed it to you instead of answering it myself. Ooh. Okay, I'm excited about this thing now. The apples are caramelizing. The pan has dried out. So I'm glad I added that extra splash to it. The apples are caramelizing. And have lost a lot of their volume. They are also getting a little bit mushy. So I've taken the heat down, and we're going to look at them just at the top. Bleh. Why did I say that? You are voting for scallion. See, I was leaning towards chive. Make your pitch. Convince me. Now you're just bandwagoning. Let's get a pan out and ready. I'm going to go cut some chives. Birds are singing, sun is shining. It is a glorious day out here. It would have been a fabulous day for birding. That chive plant is one of the greatest investments I ever made. Super easy to take care of. It kind of fell asleep for the winter, but bounced back well ahead of the actual going outside stage of spring. And it's also been very, very productive. I'm hoping, because it is currently flowering, I'm hoping that it will drop some seed and reseed itself. Just in the yard. Ooh, our rice is dry. That's not a good sign. Rice, you were supposed to be the best of us. You were supposed to be the chosen one. I'm sure the rice is cooked, but I was going for sort of a porridgey rice. Honestly, if I had not been going for more of a porridgey rice, that rice looked just about perfect. Which I should also taste. Should have tasted it before I put the more water in it. Shoulda, woulda, didn't. We need a taster spoon. Nope, you're on the angle over here. We need a taster spoon because we need to taste this for seasoning. And the leeks for doneness. It needs more salt. It is very mild. Which is nice, I suppose. We're going for a mild. It's very mild. It's very mild. Mild and comforty. And then we need to taste our compote, which is wildly different. We're going for two wildly different flavors here that hopefully will combine on the plate. Okay, that needs a splash of plain old water and some sugar. That's what that needs. Ooh, yeah. Or some honey. Some honey would have been good. I didn't reach for the honey. I reached for the granulated sugar. Um, it's tasty. I'll tell you more about it when I actually get to the tasting phase of the day. But that was a little too sharp. Little too sharp on that one. But I think it's actually cooked properly. So I'm going to take it off the heat, put it back. We're going to back burner it. And lid it. Pardon me while I lick my spatula. Okay, okay. So we're waiting for our rice to sort of porridge its way down. We're gonna do an. Don't want to put a dry pan on a hot burner. We're gonna do an egg here as a topping, but that does not take very long. So I'm gonna do that right at the end, right when we are ready to plate. Because doing it early would be wasteful. Okay. Okay. I think I'm never completely ahead empty. I'm usually kind of mulling over ideas. You know what I've got. You know what I've got a little bit of. I hardly use these things. Pre-packaged crispy fried onions. Mmm. They're good for snacking. I think they would be good for topping too. Um. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. I guess I've got a little bit of time to kill because that rice needs to finish boiling itself into more of a soft porridgey texture. We're not going for a full congee. But I do want it to be a little bit softer than your typical like white rice. That burner is cool enough to add the thing back. I am going to go kill some time. My time survived the winter, which is a travesty, and I'm going to go murder it. Um, uh, good shout. Let's make up a quick and dirty but clean topping sauce. Out of sesame oil and open up, open up, open up. There we go. This stuff, this angry, angry stuff. Which has gelled a bit in my fridge. Is angry. Is angry. We don't lick that spoon. Of all the spoons, that's the one we don't lick. I think it's just going to be those oils. Let's taste it carefully. Okay, it'll be fine once it's in the dish. It's diluting it with some sesame oil was a good idea. Stuff is really strong. That hot oil that I just pulled out and used is it'll bite you back. It'll bite you back. Oh, thank you for the moisten. I can use that right now. Moist. Let's see. Is there anything else I want to throw at this in the last minute? Anything that doesn't need to be cooked intensely? Besides the egg, which we're throwing in there. I think we have plenty going on. We're... Nah, it's too late for that. Too late to do a fancy egg. We're just going to do a classic egg. Because I just now was thinking, oh, we could do a fancy egg, but that's going to take too much extra time, which, as I mentioned, we are trying to kill. Let's see, that needs to get cleaned. Okay. Okay. So the project is currently over here, and it is waiting on this rice to finish thickening up and drying out so that we don't have a puddle at the bottom. All of our stock is absorbed. Our leek is already cooked to softness. Tasting spoon check for doneness. The rice is done. Well, I mean, cooked through. The leek is soft. The flavor in this thing is very understated. I like it. It's very, very mild. It's definitely something that will go well with a strong, assertive topping. So it's a good thing I have created a strong and assertive topping for it. That actually came out very interesting. Let's see. We have I think this calls for the brown plate. Because we're going to have a bunch of sort of light, pale ingredients. So we're going to go with our brown plate with the olive wreath. I do think we are closing in on plating. Is that going to be a big enough? I wish I had a big brown plate. You know what? We have a big brown plate. I don't know why I'm wishing. We literally have it. It's the flat version of the same thing. It's just not the bowl version, which means I have to make sure that my rice is not soupy at all. It's nice and thick, otherwise it's going to run on the plate. But that's not hard. We're almost already there. It's what I was aiming for. Okay, okay. Okay. We're going to go with olive oil. Run it around our pan. Less than medium heat. Let that warm up. Start assembling a plate. Move our board. Okay. We're closing in on it. We're coming down to it. We're zooming in on it. We're doing something, it. Scooper. Okay, heat off on the rice. I can hear the bubbles breaking at the bottom, which means we have run out of free liquid. So we are going to plate it, and it is the main event. Okay. That's our main event. This is our strongly flavored accompaniment. And then we're going to plop an egg in there for the third part of the plate. Drizzle it with our chili oil. Top it with some coarsely sliced chives. I've cracked the egg into a bowl so that I can slide it. Here it is. Here it is. So that I can slide it into the pan more easily, so we can try to maintain a nice, round, perfect egg. So that's the final step. Once this pan is ready for egg, let's give it a drop of water test. Nope. I want it to just barely spit. I'm going to push this over a little bit. Push that over a little bit. Paper towel to wipe down the edge of the plate. Get everybody within the edge of the plate. Okay. We're going to want a sharp-edged spoon for this, actually, instead of a fork. Because everything is going to be kind of scoopy, except the egg, which needs to be cut. But you don't need a fork to cut it. You can cut it with the edge of a spoon. Okay. I think, based on the back of my hand temperature gauge, this is ready for egg. Looking good, looking good. Get that guy to the middle. Aha. Got him to the middle. Okay. Looking good, looking good. We need our flipper. We can move you. Oops. Broken edge, but that's fine. Didn't break the yolk. Just making sure it's not adhering. I'm not ready to flip it. We're not doing a sunny side because I can't be arsed. But I don't want this egg to come out too toasty, so I've got the temperature low. So I'm just trying to get it through until the white is nicely set. Then we can, which I believe we have gotten, flip it, run it on that side for just a few moments. Just a few moments. To set the white over there, and then we can deposit it on our plate. Neat as can be. I'm going to actually move us over to the plating screen because I think egg is done. Oh my God. There's yolk on my spatula. Our yolk broke in my picking it up. So there's going to be a pool of yolk. Yep, there's a pool of yolk forming underneath where the egg is because I broke it. Oh well. So I didn't break it in the pan. I only broke it on the transfer. I was going to break it on the plate anyways, so I guess that's fine. Put these little crisscrossy chive spears on here. And top with our hot garnishing oil. So let's pretend that I broke it on purpose and break it now. Look, I broke it on purpose. It's just pooling in the plate. For the photo. Breaking it on transferring to the plate is not a big disaster. Breaking it in the pan, that's where it's a disaster, because then the yolk cooks through, it solidifies, which I'm not going for. So grab my photos. I'll come back. We'll do our tasting notes. I'm casting a weird shadow. Okay. Probably way too many photos. It's always way too many photos. The number of times I've had to delete like 20 photos because they were all terrible and then I found one good one is why I had an ad. Perfect time for taking photos because there's an ad. I will wait for tasting until we are back from the ad. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ad is over. If you are here, if you are here, welcome back from the ad. While you were gone, I did photos, not realizing that it was ad time, but that was perfect since I was out of the room anyways. So we're welcome back to the tasting notes phase, where I take bites and then tell you what this thing I made tastes like. So the leek rice it's very tasty. It's very mild. It has this light leek flavor running through it, but is overall just sort of this, it tastes like a comfort food base. It's just, it's warm, it's mellow. It kind of, I just want to take a bite and then curl up in a blanket. Like that's the kind of flavor it's giving me. The flavor of wanting to curl up in a blanket. Which is not what I thought it was going to be when I started. So that's, make a note. Leek rice. Tasty, tasty stuff. But because it's such a mild flavor, it's supposed to go well with an assertive flavor, like this apple bacon compote. Mm. And it does. The apple bacon compote is sweet and salty and smoky and acidic, and a little bit of spice in there from the garnish oil. And by a little bit, I mean noticeable spice in there from the garnish oil. I definitely didn't want to add any vinegar to this. We have plenty of acid from the lemon juice, and it's that bright lemony acidity. So even though it's greasy and rich, it's got this bright freshness to it because the lemon is cutting right through that greasiness. Um, and that's why you add acids to fatty foods. Um, and normally, I think like a Granny Smith, a tart apple would be a good accompaniment there on its own. These were a sweet apple, so adding the extra acid was really quite important. Um, all the other things I added in there, the garlic powder, the onion powder, and the ramps, and the shallot, so which are all alliums, a whole bunch of alliums. None of them jump out at me. They they combine into sort of this underlying savoriness, which is quite good because without that, I think this would be too sweet. Because the bacon isn't giving a really deep savoriness. It's giving sort of a greasy meatiness. And of course, we have an egg. Because you can make anything into a breakfast by adding an egg to it. So take a scoop of all the various things, plus egg, plus piece of our chive topper. Mm-hmm. The egg actually is quite complimentary here, because it's a different flavor. It's that sort of neutral proteiny flavor, which neither of these other elements have. I don't think you have to have an egg here. You could swap the egg out for like a tofu or maybe even a mild cheese. I wouldn't go for a strongly flavored cheese, but like a mild cheese. Um, maybe some mushroom, some sort of mild, soft protein over here. Um, the spicy oil is getting to me. Ooh, I'm glad I diluted it into some sesame oil because otherwise I'd be on fire. Um, I like that stuff, but it's really hot. Um, this is delicious. This whole thing, I don't know, the chives, I wanted to use the chives specifically because I wanted to cut them into these sticks and sort of sprinkle them over the top. Um, I don't know that I can taste them. Hmm. They taste like chives. Um, chive or scallion, honestly, let's run down the alliums that are in here. We have leek, shallot, onion, garlic in a second form, chives, ramps, seven different alliums went into this. Oh yeah, I think the egg needs a crack of fresh pepper. So yeah, for head empty cooking, just rummaging around what I've got, I'm pretty pleased with this. I would call this. This didn't really come out as a porridge. It came out I don't know what I would call this rice. The grains are kind of sticking together like it would be in a porridge, but it's not quite the form factor. But it's definitely not a risotto. It's kind of just like overcooked rice. Fascinating. Well, there you go. I can cook. We learned what we learned today. What we learned today is I, Jovial Jovian, am a reasonably competent cook. Who knew? I certainly didn't. I could never have predicted this. It's not even quite noon. That's always the problem with head empty cooking. I have no plan, so the time often does not line up. So we're gonna wrap up. We're gonna wind down and wrap up now because that is the dish. I've given my tasting notes. I would definitely make this again. Am I short today? I feel extra short on the camera today. I would definitely try making this again, in particular the apple bacon compote. I think it would be good with a better apple. And I would probably want to tinker with the spices that are in it a little bit. We went hard on savory alliums. I think it could probably stand a little of the more warmer spice angle. Maybe a little allspice. I think we could tinker with that. I like it as is. It's very sharp. A whole lemon in there was quite a lot, and I actually really like the sharpness in this particular application. The leek rice is just totally unexpected, and I guess I'm gonna buy a leek and see if I can't do that again and see what it. All right, I've got those other frozen leeks, so I guess I'll do it again just to see what happens. Because darn, it's interesting. It's tasty, but it's more that it's very interesting because it's not what I was expecting when I put those ingredients in that pan like that. Exploration. So let's see who's on right now. Right now. There's a lot of people on right now. Let's raid someone who I don't know that I've had an opportunity to raid. Because we've raided Violet before. We could go see Penny playing Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion. But I think we're gonna raid.
How to build things.
Yep, that person. You heard a brief moment of Zeldangerous, who is playing My Time at Sandrock. She's been playing the My Time games for a long time. She recently took a 6-month break and then came back like a month ago. So we're gonna go check out Zeldangerous. Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion is a fun game, but I want to go see Zelda. So that's where we're going. So thanks for hanging out. Thanks for coming out. I have been greatly disrupted the past 2 weeks for birds. But as the migration winds down, I should be able to put my head into this a little bit more focusedly. Twitch just rolled out a new feature, which is alerts for stream events like raids and hype trains and redemptions, all that stuff. So you don't need a separate bot to run all that stuff. And I haven't learned how the Twitch version works, but I've not been having a fun time trying to operate Firebot, which is part of why we haven't done much of that for the stream. But since it's now a base feature, oh, I talked my way right out of the stream.